Doesn't really matter anyway. I'm not going to do anything. I read their phone and phone and well, it's before into me. Tell them to go away.
Are we ready? Everyone good?
Not here.
Perfect. Okay. Good evening. Call to the order, common city council meeting for the city of Brookings for tonight, July 8th, 2024 at 7 p.m. We'll stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councillor Mullenberg.
Here.
Councillor Pareda.
Here.
Councillor Martin.
Here.
Councillor Fulton. Mayor Hodges.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. And on to item D, oral requests and communications from the audience. I have two. And I will just go in the order I received them. Number one, looks like, hope I get this right, Cheryl Kelmar, is that correct? Please say your name and your address,
Cheryl Kelmar at 914 Marina Heights.
and you'll have 5 minutes.
Okay, and please, if the camera could take a picture of my photo or video, I would appreciate it, and not the back of my head. There's nothing to see at the back of my head. Please point the camera at my picture.
We'll do what we can here.
Well, I'm sure that you can do it. So please do not interrupt. My presentation is about 4 minutes. I still don't see a picture. Many of you believe that Trump did not receive justice in New York because they don't like him there. I am asking for justice in Brookings even though you don't like me, which is reasonable due to the false statement, i.e. defamation done to me by Tiffany Berg of Oregon Home Life, a local realtor. While at a local coffee shop, I read, Lord requires of you but to do justice. This is a picture in this corner taken with an iPhone of Tiffany Berg's light, lighting up more than 4,000 square feet of my land. The fence in the picture is mine. It runs about 200 feet along the property line. Tiffany Berg's light lights up at least 40 feet into my property, for which you could see in the other picture. That is me standing 30 feet from my fence, and I am lit up. Tiffany Berg's light also lights up my building pad 50 feet from the fence. Here is a picture, this picture, of a light beam from Tiffany Berg's light streaming into my upper window, which would be difficult to cover with curtains. My house is lit up by Tiffany Berg's light all night, every night. Tiffany's light is used for a small section of her driveway. Is Brookings really that dangerous to justify such a light? Do I need a large light along her drive if it's so unsafe there? In contrast, I spent a lot of money on a one-bedroom home with a loft for the view. Why should I have to close the curtains every night to avoid Tiffany Berg's intrusive light and to not to be able to enjoy the stars and jacuzzi area at night in private, 200 feet away from her light? A good neighbor outdoor light statute would affect few people. In the first picture, notice that only 2 lights on the entire mountain would need to be covered at a small cost if the statute would be passed. Tiffany Berg's and someone else at the top of the mountain on the other side of the river. I am here to confirm that now that you understand that Tiffany Berg's light lights up my house and streams into the sleeping and jacuzzi areas, your lack of action means legally any one of our neighbors can use any kind of light, even if it streams into our windows, even me. Finally, you need to know that my last presentation given here a year ago has been played on an outdoor loudspeaker over and over into the night by Tiffany Berg to harass me. I have over 5 police reports of her noise pollution, her illegal drone flown at my head, a false accusation that I committed fraud, which I did not, and pictures of my personal belongings that were stored in my locked shed. All are online. I installed cameras because without knowing Tiffany was even present while I was on my own land, suddenly I was videotaped and defamed on Tiffany Berg's YouTube channel. Now I want to know if she is present. All I wanted to do is retire, but I have no choice but to seek relief from the court. What else do you do when you are wronged? I have done everything I could think of. I even tried to build a 16-foot pole to block her light. I will continue to speak out at blogger.com under my name, Cheryl Kalmar, and I am on Substack. I was at the Elks Club on the 4th. Clayton McMurch was at a table next to a woman who really dug into me, and I thought it was inappropriate, and he should recuse himself on any decision. I'm going to leave this picture for you, and this is my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And next, Bruce Nishioka.
I understood I had to fill out a form, but it was in relation to my,
You would like to speak when we get to that part on the agenda? Okay,
thank you.
sure. Moving on to, you guys are okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. Moving on to item E, consent calendar. To approve council minutes for June 24th, 2024, and accept planning commission minutes for May 7th, 2024.
Make a motion to accept the minutes from 2024 for the city council, and was it also the planning commission, is that what you said?
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
June for council, planning commission for May 7th.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Counselor Martin.
I'll abstain since I was not at that meeting.
Counselor Pereira.
Yes.
Counselor Mulder.
Yes.
Mayor Hodges.
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, moving on to item F, staff reports, public hearing, ordinances, resolutions, and final orders. Number 1 is the appeal fee refund request continuance for Bruce Nishioka. As I guess a little bit of a reminder, at the last common council meeting, this item was on the agenda, and there was some information that Mr. Nishioka had requested that he hadn't received in time to really review at that meeting, so we requested a continuance, and that is for today's meeting. And you have a public comment form that you wanted to discuss, so would you like to come up and do that now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, come on up. And it's, just as a reminder, it's 5 minutes.
Thank you. And I'm in good faith, I'm asking for more time, and this isn't any gamesmanship. Any appeal to LUBA, one of the big issues is, did I have a constitutional right to argue my point? I have made an effort to gain the information I requested. I submitted a public request form to the city, I think it was 2 or 3 days after our hearing, and paid the fee for the copies. And I've been told that I will not be able to get it, or was not able to get it for this hearing. So I can't present the evidence I was hoping to. I was hoping to present evidence on what type of appeals have been appealed to the city council and what fees and how they relate. I've also tried to get a public request to other cities to make a comparison. And again, the other city's public request says, you can't get it in 2 weeks. So this is probably an issue that at this city council, it's an issue probably not addressed and unfamiliar to this council. I suspect it will have to go to LUBA. So for this reason, I am requesting an additional time until the second meeting in August. Last time, that was my only request, a continuance. But this time, what happened was the council then went into discussion, and I hadn't addressed it and didn't have an opportunity. So what I'd like to address is some of the points, whether you grant a continuance or not. Some of the points. One of the big issues that Councilor Pareda, pointed out was, hey, taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for that. And believe me, as pretty much a libertarian, I agree with you. But in '73, the state of Oregon made it very clear that public should have access to land use decisions. And part of having access to it is a reasonable fee. For counties, the legislature has said $250. For cities, they have said reasonable. And I did submit with my letter. I didn't have enough time, but I got as many as I could in 2 weeks, just from the websites, what the fees were. And I'd say an average is probably around $1,000 from what I've looked at so far. $250 was the common amount. I think that's because it matches the counties, what they're statutorily required, $250. So that was common for a lot of them. But you'll see on my letter, I put an Excel sheet together. It ranges quite a bit, just as Mr. Barron had said at our last meeting. I want to present more evidence of how these fees relate to the type of appeals that are being made. My appeal is as simple as a land use decision I think this council will ever come across. I purposely made it that way. It's as simple, and so to charge the amount that I was charged, I believe is unreasonable. And I point out that if goal one of the state land use policy is to allow public access, a nearly $4,000 fee is simply unreasonable. I mean, the only reason you probably haven't had to address this issue before is most people aren't fortunate enough to pay $4,000 for a simple appeal such as mine. I can understand for a large subdivision, what was the Borax land development, I don't know what it is now, but north of town, those type of subdivisions, yeah, $4,000 probably might be reasonable, but I do not think it is. I'm trying to remember other arguments questions you had. This fee argument is separate from my appeal, the actual appeal. It has nothing to do with it, doesn't affect it. That appeal is already going through LUBA. It's nothing about your decision here will affect it. Your decision here only affects the public citizens of Brookings' ability to address land use in this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any comments?
I'd like to see, I'd like feedback from the city attorney on this letter from today. So I'm not opposed to a continuance until the second August meeting, so we can get some feedback from our attorney.
I don't know that we can hear you. Is your mic? Can you guys hear him?
I agree.
Okay, good. Sorry. Maybe I'm going deaf. Anyone else? Essentially, tonight was the decision to, authorize or deny Mr. Nishioki's request for appeal fees. And I appreciate what Councilor Martin said. But to me, the discussion that is being had is frankly the amount and the fees and whether the fee amounts are correct or not. And at the last meeting, I think it was made pretty clear that there wasn't any surprises in those fees. We could argue, I agree, about the amount. I don't disagree that seems like a large amount, but we actually had that discussion, and that wasn't anything that was just to you, or it's clear, and it's not a surprise, and it's the way that it's set up for anyone. If I were to come in, I would have the same rules that applied to you when you come in and do the appeal. So it's set fees, and so at this point, for me personally, at this decision, the amount of that is not really the discussion we need to have. We could have that at a meeting when we're talking about the budget and we're talking about a fee schedule and those type of things. But when it comes to just and fair, this is what the fee schedule is, like it or not. And it seems like when I read the slip, the itemized slip, it was all justified. So that's where I stand on it.
Yeah.
It's my understanding that prior to filing the appeal and deciding to file the appeal, they already know what the fee schedule is. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that was going to be my question for Tony as well. It sounds like this is probably, do you know how long the fee schedule has been the way it is currently? Is it something that's recently changed, or has it been like that for, as long as you can remember? Or
I think the last update to the planning department fee schedule, there was a study that was done, a fee schedule study for just that department in 2008. And that's why I had my comment about how the fees were, all over the place. Some of them were charging a low amount, some were charging a percentage of the original application fee. Some people were charging the way we are. It was just all over the place. So it wasn't a consistency.
So for 16 years, it sounds like it's roughly been this way, and it sounds like people who appeal these are fully aware of the cost of it. And I agree with the mayor's sentiments. I don't think this is the appropriate place to be hashing out what's the right amount of money to be charging for something. That should be a topic at a workshop if we think that needs to be discussed further. And I don't think that we should be making exceptions for an individual based off of, I don't know. No offense, you're a lawyer. Most people probably don't argue as much, but anyway, I don't think this is a proper forum to be discussing changes to the fees personally.
I know we've already had some discussions when we looked at the fee schedule about, maybe it is time for a new fee study. And that very well may be the case, and this may be one of those fees that we need to look into. But again, prior to filing the appeal, you know what the charge is, and you make the decision whether or not to go ahead and appeal. And there is a breakdown of those hours. I asked today about how those hours were recorded and found out that they are, in fact, kept a description of the time and the exact amount of the time that's put into a project, similarly to the way attorneys would track their time for billing to clients. We have client or attorney costs that the city has paid out specifically for this appeal. So, yeah, I too have the same sentiments as what you've expressed.
I am game for a further discussion about, because truly $250 even to $1,000 is a schedule that somebody has put together, I think it should be looked at because it is quite a discrepancy at a different time. I would want to make sure that everyone has access to be able to justly appeal situations, and it is a lot of money, but again, it's one of those things that is a known cost, and so to pay it and then essentially, at least at the council level, have the decision made opposite and then want the refund back, I personally don't support that. So I'm going to make a motion to deny Bruce Nishioka's refund request of appeal fees.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Counselor Purita.
Yes.
Counselor Mulder.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
No.
Mayor Hodges.
Yes,
The motion carries.
thank you.
Can I follow up with a comment?
Yeah.
So I'm voting no. I agree with the citizen's right to request an appeal of a land use decision. I also support a citizen's right to ask that the appeal fee be waived. I'm voting no because if as part of the appeal or asking for this to be waived, there may be some new information that's submitted that isn't available because of a public records request. So I was in favor of continuing this in case there's more information and also getting some feedback from our attorney. So that's why I voted no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to City Council Agenda item number F, number 2, which is miscellaneous fence projects.
Thank you. So we put together a bid package for contractors to bid on for fence projects, several different fence projects, and I've listed them here in the staff report. Many of these projects we talked about at budget. The total cost came in at 143,370 was the low. So if you have any questions about that, about the projects or any concerns, I'm here to answer questions.
I have one question, and I know we've talked about this multiple times, but the area that's going to be fenced, that doesn't include the public's access to the front of the building, correct?
Correct.
So I had talked to the city manager, chief, a little bit about this, so I know he's already talked to you, but I just personally wanted to sort of see what it looked like, and I feel that the fencing around water towers or, the work yard, things like that, probably just needs to be industrial and fine, but for here, especially when I look at the cost difference between the second and third, I'm not saying I know exactly what it is, but I would like it to be an attractive fence here at City Hall, and make sure that the design, I guess, is something that may cost a little bit more than the other places, because it's not just this industrial fence, but is attractive for the city, being, we're talking about City Hall. So I just personally would like to make sure that happens, and maybe we could see a picture or a rendering or something.
One option we could do is just upgrade the material to black powder coated instead of just the standard chain link galvanized, hot dip galvanized. We can have it powder coated, give it a color black. Other than that, that's really the only other option we have right now. But it would be an upcharge for that because the material does cost more money when it's powder coated.
And that'd be something that you could do through a change order process. You wouldn't need to re-advertise and
No,
scrap
I mean,
the bidding process.
the cost of that upgrade would be equal to, in every one of the contractors to upgrade it to powder coated. We didn't spec powder coated when they bid on this, so.
We'd like to see, something like that here at City Hall as well, but at the same time, not so much of a change that it would require the city to re-advertise and rebid. I have a feeling that, the competitive bidding process at that point will have been affected, if everyone's sort of shown their cards, right, so to speak, when you put a job out to bid. And I think that you may likely end up with significantly higher bids if it were re-advertised, but if it was a minor change to affect the aesthetics, just at one location that could be done through a change order, that might be a mechanism to get that improvement without a re-advertisement.
Why is chain link the only option?
It's the most economical. The wood isn't really secure. It wouldn't last as long. A wrought iron fence would cost a lot more money. Masonry, if we did a masonry wall, that would be more. Chain link was what was discussed.
And I'm wondering one more thing along the lines of if there were to be a change order, what are your limits on change order amount? Say if there was a material type change just for, say, the frontage portion of just the city, which probably represents a fairly small amount of the total contract, what dollar value limits does the city have to explore other options for that material type just at this location?
Well, just break down City Hall project. The City Hall project, the majority of the cost in the City Hall project is the actual gate, the automatic gate. The fence itself is a very small amount. So the upgrade for the fence, probably talking in the $1,000 to $3,000 range of an upgrade, maybe in material. That's a rough estimate. So it's not that much. Normally, when we do a change order, it has to come back to council. It's over $25,000. So
if it was under $25,000, it wouldn't need to come back to council.
Right.
But seeing as it represents only a pretty small percentage of the total project, and like you said, the majority of the cost is in the gate.
Exactly.
Maybe it would be within those limits.
It definitely would.
I'm one of 5 up here, so I'm just giving my thoughts on this. The economics, I appreciate that. And I know the whole team would look more attractive than like the oxidized that comes out of the other. But is there like going to be slats in there, or is it just going to be open?
It's not intended to have slats in it.
Okay.
That was not part of the bid.
So just straightforward chain link. Okay.
I'm in agreement with you as far as the aesthetic goes. I think that City Hall represents our city, and I think it's important. I think that it makes a statement, and I think it's important that it look as appealing as possible.
I
I have one more comment. I have a comment and a question earlier. I think when the public looks at City Hall, they're seeing this corner over here. They're seeing from the police station and the front of the fire department. So this, the staff entrance, the police department entrance, and then the exit, I think most people actually don't even see that. So I'm going to make a motion to authorize the city manager to enter an agreement with Mountain View Fence in the amount of $143,370 for miscellaneous fence projects, and say it one more time so it's clear, $143,370 for miscellaneous fence projects and for staff to update the council with a possible change order for the black powder coated fencing for City Hall.
Yeah, I'll second that, but with the caveat that if there's other aesthetic options that they could bring forward, then I'd like to, look at those as well. But I'll second the motion.
Counselor Pareja.
Yes.
Counselor Malmberg.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Hodges.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Excellent. All right, moving on to item G, informational non-action items. Number 1, city manager update.
The only update I have for today is just a reminder that the new city manager, Tim Rundle, will begin in 2 weeks on July 22nd. I sent out an email today just updating the mayor and the council. I spoke with Tim at Links today on some just moving preparation and just kind of brief talks on the first week and what we would accomplish. And that's all I have on that, if you have any questions.
No, I appreciate it. Anyone else? Okay. And then just the June 2024 vouchers. Any comments or questions on that? And did you have something?
I can have
Okay. Do you guys mind if we do one last public comment before our comments?
I don't mind.
No, that's fine.
All right. We don't normally, we're past the public comment section, but everyone's okay to agree to have this last public comment from Wild Rivers Film Festival. I don't have a name here.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
Hi, Amanda. And what's your address, 625 Jetco, is that right on here?
It's Wild Rivers Film Festival.
Okay.
And we have this thank you card. I don't know if you can hear me, but we wanted to say thank you to the city council members for having Wild Rivers Film Festival put their banners up on the street poles throughout the city. It's very appreciative, and we look forward to it for 2024. And also we wanted to just update you that we are working with Bi-Coastal Media with a regional CV social media campaign. And so we will be doing lots of community outreach through the Wild Rivers Film Festival to support the community, and we want to thank you for your participation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And on that, item H, remarks from mayor, councilors, and city manager.
Just wanted to formally recognize and appreciate the Love Your Fourth group and appreciate the city staff and partnering with them. They put on an excellent fireworks show this year.
I agree. Phenomenal.
And no fog.
Oh,
It was great.
amazing. We have had such a good year with weather and just the events. We've had, and the amazing volunteers that put all that time and work and energy. Yeah.
I have a few comments, so I want to echo what Councilor Malmberg said about the Independence Day celebration. I talked to the port manager and pretty much went off without a hitch. The city, of course, contributed money from the motel tax and the vacation rental tax to help fund that, and it was a big success. And it appears it was a pretty quiet week and weekend in Brookings, so good job to the police department, the area fire departments, the city staff, and the port and all the volunteers that put on such a great event. Our thoughts are with the people in Crescent City over their mishap down there, especially that family of that little boy. A couple of announcements on Thursday. Jerry Law from VFW said there's an open house from, I believe, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the VFW where people can see the changes, the roof, the improvements that they made, and he invited the community to come to that. And then I also wanted to mention a letter the city received from DEQ about the access at Social Security Bar and voters who had using the public gravel bar, public property to back their boats in to rinse the salt water out of their motors. And somebody made a formal complaint to DEQ, and DEQ asked the city to investigate that. And so far, nothing's really happened with that. But I just want to reiterate my stance that that's a public gravel bar. The city owns the access to it. It's for the community to enjoy. During our heat wave last week, I went up there and the gravel bar was clean. There were a lot of people out there enjoying the water, swimming, inner tubes, kayaks, and that's an important river access point close to Brookings that people in the community enjoy. Many of the council members here haven't been involved in some of the discussions we've had over a year ago about restricting access there or gating it off, or the county taking over and charging a day use fee. So I'm opposed to any of those changes. I'm all for people to be able to enjoy and use public lands and public property, and especially Social Security bar, of not making changes to the access there or restrictions. You know, that's in the tidal and influenced area. If somebody wants to bring a boat, I don't know who these boat owners are who are doing it, but I don't have any problem with somebody taking a boat and backing it to the water in a tidally influenced area, even to rinse the salt water off after running their boat in the ocean. I don't believe the city is doing anything more than what DEQ asked. I made a comment to the Public Works Department that if DEQ is concerned about the health of the river, maybe they should go up to Miller Bar or some of the other gravel bars upriver and take a look at the people that are living on the gravel bar or leaving their campers for a long period of time. You know, what's happening with their wastewater and their gray water, and that's a lot bigger threat to our community and our source of water than somebody using a public boat launch. So those are my comments.
Anyone else? No?
I'm good.
I have just a few. Again, kudos to some of our community youngsters. I know a couple of our baseball/softball teams are going to state tournaments and doing very well. So congratulations to them. And I think there's another tournament up around Portland this coming weekend. So as a member of the community, rooting our youngsters along is important, and so kudos to them. Keep up the good work. Also, I had the privilege of attending the state 4-H competitions up in Albany, and we this year, Curry County, out of a team of 4 for the state, sent 2. So half of the state team was from Curry County for the national archery competition. And they did pretty good. And the way it works is, so they competed at 4-H state last year. And then this year, they went to the nationals, which is the week after the state. So they actually just got back. James Anderson and I believe the other youngsters from Gold Beach, Wyatt Lotus. So kudos. To make state is pretty impressive, but to go nationally and do pretty well is really impressive. So Curry County puts out some pretty good archers.
And without an archery range even.
Yeah, and
we got to work on that.
We do. We definitely do. And volunteer grown-ups that are helping with them, for that's another big part. And I believe we've got some, I'm pretty sure, unless something really changes, from Curry County going to the Nationals next year. So a lot of good work going there. And then this weekend, I also had the opportunity to participate in the EMS Moving Memorial. To be honest, I even work in healthcare. I knew nothing about this. Unfortunately, it wasn't very well advertised in our area, so I don't think a lot of people knew about it. But essentially what it is a group of volunteers moving through the country, spreading the word and raising money to build a national EMS memorial for those who work in medical services that die in the line of duty, to have a memorial to celebrate them. And so that was at Azalea Park on Saturday morning, and there was, maybe some of you heard the big procession coming through town. I know our police participated in that, our local Cal-Lor EMS, fire, other fire districts, I think Cape Farello, I'm probably leaving a few people out, but they had a good sort of a rolling procession for that memorial, so that was good. And I had the opportunity and honor to speak there, as well as one of our county commissioners, Brad Alcorn. And then just the last one on here is just, again, acknowledging what the city manager said, which is our new city manager, Tim Rundell, will be here in 2 weeks, so exciting. I have seen a few updates from him coming, so he's excited about joining us as well, so something to look forward to. Can't wait to welcome him here. And if that is it, I guess we'll call tonight's meeting to a close at 7:41. Thank you.